one final block in our Holidaze Sampler, and it's this star block right here. Let's have some fun with half rectangle triangles. Lots of pieces for our star block because we have 3 different sizes of half rectangle triangles. So let me show you what we've got going on. We need background pieces, so those are cut. Then we need our smallest pair of rectangles, and we need 2 each. We're going to cut those in different directions for the center of our star. So let me do that. When I say 1 of each, I mean uphill and downhill. So we're going to do our downhill. And I am going to just spin that around and flip it over so that I am ready to sew. So this is my downhill unit. And then I need to do an uphill. So I just rotate my ruler to the other corner. And again, I can rotate that and put right sides together. Remember, you always want your fabrics right side up when you cut to make sure you get that in the correct orientation. It doesn't matter. Batiks are easier to do this method with because you don't have to worry about those right sides. You can just flip them over if you need to. You don't have to worry about miscuts. And then for the outer points on our star, we have 2 different sizes. You can see the taller, skinnier one and the shorter, fatter one. But we're going to pair our 2 different colors with a background. And we can always remember that the colors go the same direction. So your one side of your star is going to be the darker color. I'm using yellow for that. And these are going to be downhill cuts for both of these units. Even though they end up as being different sizes, we still need that downhill cut for the yellow and the background. And again, I'm just spinning that around to make sure it makes the correct rectangle, and then I can flip it over so that it's ready to sew. Same thing with the second unit. And the same thing, my yellow is downhill. Pair my fabrics up, add them to the pile so I can go and sew these together. And then the alternate, what I'm using my orange, these are going to be uphill. So I just go to the opposite corners and cut my uphill units. And if you just open it up, it doesn't make the right shape. I actually have to spin it around, and then I can fold right sides together. So we spin our fabrics and then turn them over, which would be obviously much more obvious with print fabrics instead of batiks, but I love working with my batiks. Okay, so now I have my stack of half rectangle triangles. I'm going to sew those together and then we'll be ready to trim. Okay, I have all of my half rectangle triangles sewn and pressed open. we're ready to trim. And remember, there's 3 sizes. We have our small, our medium, and our large or tall. The smallest ones go in the center. The medium ones are on the side of our star block, and the tall ones are on the top and the bottom. So if that helps you to remember, check the patterns for the trimming size, and they do not all have the same proportion that works with my little bit different ruler. So I'm just going to go off of the overall size, and these little ones do work because that first ratio is the same for the littlest block and my overall 6x9. So I can use that marking on this one. Okay, so you can see how the center of that block will come together. And then we get our medium. And when we lay out the block, the colors always touch. So this yellow section touches that yellow section. And I'm lining this up so the seam line hits right at the corner of my ruler. And then we can go to our tallest one. The main part of our block, I will lay it out at the sewing machine so you can see it with the background pieces. And then we will sew our rows together kind of as a 9 patch. Obviously there's going to be a little more piecing there in the center, but we'll get that going. Here is our star block, and as you can tell, I didn't get that seam allowance measured exactly right on the tallest rectangle, and you can overcome that by putting some tape on your ruler exactly where that seam line needs to hit within the overall measurement of the block. And I think this is fine. It still gives the overall impression of that two-tone star, and you know, I can forgive a lot. Done is much better than perfect in my world. So if you want to play with this and be a little more accurate, then I encourage you to experiment with half rectangle triangles of various sizes. I hope you have enjoyed this Holidaze sampler with the little bit different collection. If you are looking for more holiday crafts with fabric, check out this video next.